Vauxhall Astra GSe is the first model from the company's EV sporting Grand Sport electric sub-brand, a PHEV targeted directly at Volkswagen's Golf GTE. It's a little less of a hot hatch than that Wolfsburg model, but it's not for the want of trying. Handling and suspension tweaks aiming to elevate this Astra a little above the usual plug-in hybrid family hatch and estate choices that you could make. After 40 years of fast Vauxhalls, some great, some not, this, apparently, is where the company's performance pretensions enter a new electrified era. And on initial inspection of the car in question here, the brand's Astra GSe doesn't sound all that promising. 1.8 tonnes of weight, eco-conscious tyres, automatic transmission, and an engine from the Stellantis parts bin. Yes, an engine. This fast Astra may be the debut model of the marque's new electric performance brand, but it isn't fully electric, though these days you can buy an Astra that is. Instead, the GSe uses the fastest 225 horsepower version of the 1.8 litre plug-in hybrid powertrain already in use in 180 horsepower form by the Astra PHEV. Other similarly sized Stellantis group models like the Peugeot 308 and the DS4 offer the faster of the two versions of this drivetrain with nothing more than an expensive price hike, and the models in question have largely stayed rooted to the showroom floor. Vauxhall's been a bit cleverer, repackaging the 225 horsepower PHEV Astra model with all the GSe tinsel that you see here to better justify its ambitious asking price. Students of automotive history might remember that the GSe badge first appeared on Vauxhall Opel models back in the 80s with the big Monza Coupe. But then the letter stood for Grand Sport Einspritzung, that's German for injection. Today the acronym has been reborn as designating Grand Sport Electric, and we're told here offers us a glimpse into the future of warmed up Vauxhalls. You might at least be pleased to find that this is rather more than an Astra PHEV with an inconsequential power hike and a body kit. Lots of work's been done on the suspension, though you can't specify switchable dampers in the way that you can with this model's Golf GTE arch rival. Instead, special Koni shock absorbers have been fitted with a clever bypass valve to aid ride comfort. Apparently, there are slightly more permissive stability system settings too, plus a lower ride height and a faster steering rack. None of which you really need because the powertrain characteristics don't encourage you to drive this car like a hot hatch. It's a PHEV package designed for an eco-conscious hatch, not a shopping rocket. And since it hasn't been altered for this installation, the driveline vibe that you get is slightly out of kilter with the sporty looks and the firm ride of this GSe. You don't even really feel the extra 45 horsepower over an ordinary Astra PHEV. The torque figure is the same, though the stats say that this more powerful variant is fractionally quicker against the stopwatch. Rest to 62 miles an hour takes 7.5 seconds, a way off a rival Golf GTE's 6.7 seconds, but at least for what it's worth, the top speed is a very un-EV-like 146 miles an hour. To recap, in case you're not familiar with the 4-cylinder 1.6 litre turbo petrol powertrain in use here, it's assisted by a 107 bhp electric motor powered by a 9.9 kilowatt hour battery and drives through the front wheels via an 8-speed auto gearbox. EV range in the hatch is rated at 40 miles. That's limited by the 1.7 tonne curb weight, one of the things that discourages you from throwing this car about too much. Another is the drivetrain's momentary hesitation when you stamp on the throttle, which eventually elicits a rather thrashy engine note. At least the handling tweaks work quite well. The darty steering and damping that keeps body roll in check, but isn't too busy over coarser surfaces. Vauxhall has tried to set this GSe model apart from humbler Astras with unique bumpers. while in profile you might notice the contrast colour black roof and special 18-inch wheels. Either way, there's the usual choice of hatch or sports tourer estate body styles. A yellow badge on the boot lid designates that this is no ordinary Astra. You might hope for a slightly more bespoke interior. Actually though, the only reference to this model's sportier credentials lies with a couple of GSe badges added under the front seat headrests, neither of which can be seen while you're actually driving the car. The sports seats could do with a bit more lateral side support to suit the kind of model this is trying to be, but they do at least come appealingly clad in Alcantara. Otherwise, the cabin is much as in any other plushly specified Astra, a welcome recipient of the company's current modern solid design language. Here, nicely judged additions like the padded leather and metal touch points do just enough to justify the exalted asking price. The centre monitor incorporates Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, and there's the option of a head-up display. For the automatic gearbox, you get a sliding selector in place of the usual stick, which frees up space for extra storage and an additional cup holder. In the back, there's decent space for rear seat passengers. And this current Astra's relatively generous wheelbase length provides for a largish cargo area, though compared to a conventionally engined model, that falls in size from 422 to 352 litres. With the Sports Tourer Estate, the reduction is from 597 to 516 litres. There's not much space beneath the floor here, and you only get a 60-40 seat back split, but you do get a ski hatch for longer items. As usual with a PHEV, there's quite a price premium to pay for being able to plug in. Pricing for this GSe model started from just over £41,000 at the time of our test in autumn 2023, with a £2,200 premium to pay on top of that for the Sports Tourer Estate body shape. That's only £150 more than Vauxhall wants for the plushest ultimate spec version of the 180 horsepower Astra plug-in hybrid model. But you can get that 180 horsepower variant with less exalted GS trim from around £38,000. For reference, the full EV Astra Electric is priced from just over £40,000 in hatch form. And GS and ultimate spec hatch models with conventional 1.2 litre petrol power sell in the £30,000 to £33,000 bracket. More relevantly, for an Astra GSe customer, the most obvious rival to this top variant, the Volkswagen Golf GTE, was priced from around £40,500 at the time of this review. Go for this Astra GSe and you get a smarter look with a contrast colour black roof and special 18-inch wheels, plus recalibrated sports steering, a unique chassis setup and special ESP settings. Otherwise, the kit list is much as it is on the 180 horsepower plug-in hybrid model. That means you can expect features like full LED headlights, digital instrument dials and standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring for the centre dash screen. The driver is supported by state-of-the-art assistance systems ranging from the IntelliHUD head-up display to the semi-automated IntelliDrive assistance system and the IntelliVision 360-degree camera. And the brand expects the intelligent IntelliLux headlights to be frequently specified as an option. These use state-of-the-art LED pixel lights. There's also extended traffic sign recognition, rear cross traffic alert and active lane positioning, which keeps the car in the middle of the driving lane. As we mentioned in our driving experience section, up to 40 miles of battery running is claimed from both the Astra GSe variants, while CO2 is rated at up to 25 grams per kilometre. This means an affordable 12% BIK tax rating. There's the usual rather fictitious three-figure PHEV combined cycle fuel reading, in this case 256 miles to the gallon. You can maximise efficiency by regular activation of the provided B gearbox button, which emphasises regenerative braking, harvesting energy as you cruise or brake to replenish the battery. From a household plug, both Astra GSe variants can be replenished in 5.5 hours. Plug into a 3.6 kilowatt home wallbox or public charger and replenishment will take 3.5 hours. Connected up to a 7 kilowatt home wallbox or public charger, you can reduce that to 1 hour and 55 minutes. If you do have a 7 kilowatt home box, it would make sense to pay Vauxhall the extra £500 it wants to upgrade the car's standard 3.7 kilowatt onboard charger to 7 kilowatt status, which would halve the vehicle's charging times. So that you don't have to use valuable charging energy with the climate fan cooling or heating the interior when you first get into the vehicle, the Astra GSe offers a thermal preconditioning function. Insurance for both GSe variants is Group 31E. Now, as long as you don't approach the Astra GSe expecting it to be a fully fledged hot hatch, provided you're accepting of its ambitious asking price, you might quite like it. The handling is quite sporty, so are the looks. And you get all of that with the potential frugality of PHEV technology that's looking quite a good current bet as our country's EV charging network struggles to cope with public demand. For all that though, an Astra with a performance badge ought to add up to a little more than this. We'd hoped with the relinquishment of its GSI and VXR sub-brands in recent times, Vauxhall would bring us one that would. This isn't it. The GSe has its market, but it's very much for those who've outgrown any sort of GTI.